I'm Warren Haynes from Govt Mule. You're logged on to guitar.com. One of the reasons that I started playing slide guitar in the first place is because it kind of emulates the human voice. And when you pick a vibrato or when you work on your vibrato, it might be nice to emulate the vibrato of a human voice. Usually, most of the slide stuff you're going to play, you want the bar to be straight up and down. Your pitch is much better that way. Vibrato is a very important part of expressing yourself on slide guitar, sometimes easing into the vibrato. You have to bear in mind the pitch on a slide guitar, instead of playing in between the frets, you've got to play pretty much on top of the fret. If you play in between the frets, you're going to be flat. Even though that's where you would put your finger, it's not where you want to put the slide. So when you're playing slide guitar, you have to remember to pretty much play right on top of the fret. And vibrato is different than it is playing regular guitar. You're going to play. And with the slide, it's going to be a back and forth kind of motion. Somewhere in my early 20s, realized what a dying art it was and how much of a challenge it was, and how gratifying it could be to play slide guitar. You can hear people that just played it. It's the most emotional instrument, or one of the most emotional instruments that I've ever heard. You learn this dampening technique where when you're not playing a string, somewhere on your right hand, you're dampening that string. So if I'm hitting the G string with my index finger, then I'm using my thumb to dampen these strings, the D, the A, and the E. And sometimes using these other fingers to dampen the high E or the high B. You don't want any of this noise that you're going to get from moving the bar around. Whenever you move the bar, that's what you're going to get. So if you're playing with a pick and you play, it sounds like that. If you play it with your finger, there's no noise. And there's a time and a place, obviously, for both of them. If you want the more change, the only way you're going to get that unless you really attack it hard, or if you use finger picks. And for me, it's a flat pick thing, even though Elmore, I think, use finger picks. But most of the stuff, if you play that with a pick and you don't dampen, you get play something similar, and you'll hear the difference in all the unwanted overtones that you get if you go. Now I'm still dampening with my left hand, which helps considerably. And there are times you don't want to dampen there either. There are times that I mean, lift this hand completely up except for the slide, so I don't get any dampening here, and I don't want any from this end either. But most of the time, especially if you're playing single note stuff, you need all the dampening in the world. So if you take advantage of like a classical guitar type of right hand technique, play with your fingers, and every time you hit a string, you concentrate on beating the other strings out. It sounds more difficult than it is, and it does take a while, but it's very rewarding. If you play like a simple blues riff, just change it around and just keep playing. Haynes said that he would play the same blues riff over and over and over and over until he got it sounding exactly like he wanted it to sound. And that's pretty much what we've all done through the years, as boring as it might seem. If you play that lick, you can practice your vibrato. And the vibrato I'm using here is with my third finger. It's totally different than if you go your first finger vibrato there. And these are all part of the same riff. So if you're playing this riff, you play that across the one chord. You also play it across the four chords. Back to the one. Same riff, but you play it across both chords, and it has a different meaning. Then when you get to the 5 chord, same riff. 4 chord, back to the 1. Joe Pass said when the chords change, you change, and I think what he meant by that is everything about you should change when there's a chord change. Even if you're playing the same riff, you don't feel it the same way, you don't hear it the same way, and neither does the audience. Whatever you're playing has a different meaning depending on what's behind it. So if there's a different chord behind that riff, the riff is a different riff. You hear the progression behind that. Play the same part across all that, but it has a different meaning each time you play it. So you'd be amazed how some of these simple little licks will get you through for the rest of your life. I think to build your technique up to where you can play faster and faster and be able to keep up with different tempos, sometimes it helps to just play at a much slower tempo than you would maybe hear the song, or maybe hear the section in your head. Slow it down and play it. Let's see if you're playing an example. You play. You may not get to that until you go. A lot of cats will practice with a metronome or a drum machine, set a tempo, then bring it up a couple of beats, and bring it up a couple of beats, and bring it up a couple of beats, and eventually get to the tempo that you have in your head, and then you'd be surprised how much better and how much more easily you can play at that tempo than you could if you rush right into it. Playing at really fast tempos is one of the hardest things for everybody, but playing at really slow tempos is pretty hard too. The cats that really have the chops to play really fast have to work really hard to play at slow tempos. So you should never get in your head that speed is the next step to greatness, because it's not. Everybody wishes they could play like somebody else, or everybody wishes they played differently or better than they do. And the more people I meet and listen to and learn from, the more I realize that our own insecurities are what make us play the way we play and make us strive to play better. I'm sure John McLaughlin, not knowing him, walks off stage sometimes and thinks, well, I had a really bad night, where none of us would be able to tell because he's such an amazing musician. But medium tempos are a very good exercise to play in, because that's where most songs are going to be. The majority of the work that you do in your life is going to be somewhere in the middle, not fast, not slow. But you have to learn to play all the different moods, or the different types of tempos. I used to try weird stuff for a while. I practiced in the dark, and so when I hit a note, I try and guess what the notes are in my head without really knowing. Playing with other musicians is really a way of opening your brain to what somebody else's opinion is about what you're doing. But I think even just playing is practice. If you grow up improvising, and if you learn from the beginning that improvising is such a special part of playing music, then every time you sit down to play, or every time you play on stage, is really practice. You're learning more, in my opinion, playing in front of a crowd than you're learning sitting in your bedroom. So my advice to any musician is to play in front of an audience as much as possible. But to play as much as possible, period. And you look around and you see cats that are 70, 80 years old that are still playing. They're playing better and better in a lot of ways than they ever have. That's really encouraging. And I hope to be better now than I was last year, better next year than I am now, better when I'm 65 than I ever thought of being right now.